With Spider-Man getting the spotlight as much as it has, I thought it would be a great time to go over the problems we have in this industry with downgrades, and why we need to stand up as gamers and get this taken care of before it gets more out of hand than it already has. What's going on, you guys? Gaming Addict here. Thanks for tuning in to another video. Always appreciated. Like I said in the intro, we're going to go over, the state of downgrades in the gaming industry as a whole. I'll give you some examples of, the stuff that I've looked up, the stuff I remember. And, we'll have a good little discussion, see exactly, what kind of possibilities could happen, why this is affecting the industry, in my opinion, and why it needs to be taken care of. Since the start of the generation, hell, the start of gaming in general, these companies have been promoting a version of these games that simply don't exist. At E3, they want to wow us with these trailers that they know for a fact isn't possible, especially if you're playing on a console. From Rise to Spider-Man and from Watch Dogs to Witcher 3, but instead of joining together and fighting against these shady practices that they don't continue, what does the consumer do? We fight each other instead. Instead of fighting that company that's trying to sell us dreams instead of reality. With that being said, I felt like something needs to change in this industry. The gaming community needs to come together like we did with loot boxes, like we did with whether or not PSN or Xbox Live should be paying for their services. But we can't join forces on downgrades in that degree. Some companies have already been damaged in terms of reputation for downgrades. It is one of the incidents that we did stand up for these downgrades, but it was one of the far serious ones. It's Ubisoft. Until this day, people still remember the downgrade of Watch Dogs and how upset people were about that game. Why is this one of the only times that I've seen it to that degree? We as a consumer need to stop letting them try and sell us fantasies and lie to us in order to increase the sales of their overall game. We need to make it known that if your game comes out and you promised us this and it's far from realistic and the final build of the game is neither on par with what you promised or close to it, we need to make them know that this is not a practice that gamers are down with. We need to make them know that if they try this shit, their next game will bomb in terms of sale because they can't lie to us without we giving them consequences. Now, I'm not saying every game needs to be boycotted. I'm saying that certain games like Watch Dogs that are drastically different than what they showed us at E3, those are the ones that need to be boycotted. There has to be some kind of consequence for these companies. And obviously, if you buy the game and it's already downgraded, you can't really boycott it. That I'm talking about their future projects. Like I said earlier, those are the ones that need to be hidden sales. And that is the only way you're going to get to these companies is to not use your wallet when they do this shady stuff. And I feel like this is a bigger issue in terms of the industry in itself than just what they're selling us, and it's kind of false advertising anyway. I feel like this is affecting the gaming industry as a whole because if you look at gameplay and the evolution of gameplay this generation, it's not been as high as it has been previous generations because they'd rather sell us a game that is eye candy. So why improve anything else? Look at certain games like Rise Son of Rome, Order 1886, Quantum Break. The gameplay was subpar because they made the game look so fluid and everyone wanted it because it looked so good. And in no way Sony's the only company doing this. Everyone's doing this. State of Decay. Rise Son of Rome. I remember Rise had a little bit of downgrade. God of War had a downgrade. Ubisoft does it all the time. This isn't something that's new. This isn't something that only one publisher, two publisher, three publisher. This is something the entire industry does. Because it's easier, like I said, to sell us on something what it looks like than what it plays like because that's what people see. That's the first impression. So I don't want to blame just one demographic. I don't want to blame I want to blame the whole entire industry. And as much as I hate to say it, I never like blaming the consumer, but this is one of those few incidents where I do think it is a little bit on the consumer as well. We make this okay behavior. We make this fine. We do lash out from time to time, but not really to the extent to make anything happen. And that's something that needs to change too. We got to be more precaution. I hate to admit this, but sometimes, the PC community is right when it comes to stuff like pre-ordering. Now, I will never tell you what to do with your money. I won't tell you when to buy a game. I won't tell you when you should, when you shouldn't, if you should pre-order, if you shouldn't pre-order, because I feel like you as the consumer have that right. That is your right. And that isn't your fault. If a game comes out broken, if a game comes out doesn't look the greatest, if it's downgraded like shit, that is never on the consumer. You always point at the companies that make it. And I think people that blame people for, pre-orders, I've seen people blame for every issue under the sun in gaming industry on the actual consumer, which is like complete crazy to me. How are you ever going to blame the person that bought it? You should always blame the person that made it. And I wanted everyone to know that this wasn't made because of Spider-Man. This wasn't made because of any independent game, any kind of game at all. No single game was the reason for this video. I feel like people in this console war stuff, they let the overall objective of what's going on slip their mind. Spider-Man was downgraded. State of Decay was downgraded. God of War was downgraded. Horizon Zero Dawn was downgraded. The Horizon Zero Dawn one was the least one that I saw the downgrade with, but these games were downgraded. A lot of these, besides State of Decay, I think State of Decay was the only one that maybe, there should have been a lot more talk than it was, because that was a drastic downgrade. None of these were so drastically different that I felt like it should be recommending and boycotting or anything. And it's like I said, I don't recommend boycotting every game. Only boycott the ones that were, the product was completely different. And you guys know exactly what I'm talking about when I say when the product is completely different. And that's all I got for you guys. Remember, like I said, it's not every company and you don't need to boycott every game. I've been seeing a lot with the gaming community in the past week, and it has been resulted in Spider-Man that it's okay to admit when there's something wrong. It's okay to admit that this game is downgraded. This game doesn't work to the greatest. It's okay to admit that. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. If you don't, give it a dislike. But be sure to put in the comment section why you don't agree with my opinion, or you can have no voice. But I always recommend everyone to have a voice. If you think I'm full of shit, go in that comment section and tell me exactly why I'm full of shit. This video, share it with your friends. I like it to get to as many people as possible. And until the next time, Gaming Addicts out. And be sure to check out my older videos. And I'm going to be playing Spider-Man on the 7th, just like every one of you. But first, I'm going to play Destiny. So you guys have a good day. This is Gaming Addict. I'm out of here. Peace.